Somebody gonna have to do something about that. It's not funny. It's not fair. It isn't funny at all. So, you know, she could keep being a bully if she wants to, but that is going to catch up to her.
Hey, yo, what's that word, y'all? You know what's going on, man. It's your boy, Wavy, Sir Wavy, King Wavy, Mr. Wavy. Hold on. All of the above. You know what's going on, man. And it's all love. Here straight from the H-Town where it go down, man. I'm about to let y'all know a little something, man. We on this law and crime, man. Talking about McDonald's worker posted furious rant before killing her manager. I've been into this long crime sidebar kick. I've been messing with like all the body cam videos and stuff. I'm finna start reacting to that, so hopefully y'all tap in and y'all messing with the switch. I'm gonna still mess with no jumper and all that. It just be boring, bro. I don't get no enjoyment out of doing it no more. I used to get enjoyment of watching the downfall of no jumper, and now it's just corny. Like, it's corny, yo. But I like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm subscribed because I fuck with law and crime. And if y'all fuck with me, subscribe. Hit that bell, man. You know what's going on. Let's get into this.
Because it ain't funny at all. It ain't.
Just 48 hours before allegedly stabbing her manager to death inside of a Detroit McDonald's, Afeni Muhammad posted that very angry Instagram rant. And now that video is at the...
It's Detroit, y'all. I'm from the Midwest. Is we really surprised? It's Detroit.
Center of a murder case that prosecutors say was premeditated and hauntingly foreshadowed. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, just
My intrusive thoughts was kicking in. I ain't even gonna tell y'all what I was thinking.
2 days before she allegedly stabbed her manager to death, Afeni Muhammad posted this furious Instagram video seething about being sent home early for the second day in a row.
I got sent home early yesterday. I got sent home early today by the same person. I'm telling you, she's a bully. This isn't funny. She needs to understand that just because she's a mother and got children doesn't mean that she can come in the store, you know, disrespecting people, talking to them like everybody's beneath her. Gonna have to stop. She's a bully. I'm telling you. She's a bully.
And that was followed by what could be perceived as a foreboding warning.
She could keep being a bully if she wants to, but that is going to catch up to her. Because it ain't funny at all. It ain't.
Now, by Thursday, July 10th, 2025, those words became a horrifying
She keep being a bully and she won't. All three of them.
reality, because the 26-year-old is now accused of ambushing her manager, 39-year-old Jennifer Harris, at the 9 Mile Road McDonald's in Detroit, stabbing her up to 15 times with a kitchen knife in a brutal attack that prosecutors are saying is a premeditated murder. We're going to start from the top. We're going to take you through how all of this apparent violence unfolded. This was just before 8 a.m. on July 10th. Jennifer Harris, this longtime manager at the East Point McDonald's, sent Afeni Muhammad home early following this heated argument that detective...
Her name Afeni Muhammad, bruh. Like, of course she on demon time. Her name Afeni Muhammad, nigga. She on demon time. You ain't see her with the glasses on? What was those, Versace? She had the Versace on or something? She gonna have to stop sending me home, shorty. You know what I'm saying? Like, come
say
on.
was sparked by Muhammad not performing her work duties. Now, Muhammad did go home, but not before reportedly saying to Harris, "I'll be back." And apparently she wasn't lying, because after being dismissed, police say they allege that Muhammad drove to a nearby park, but instead of cooling off, she made a fateful decision. Allegedly retrieving a kitchen knife from her car, Muhammad returned to the quick service chain, but this time prosecutors say she wore a hooded mask over her face to conceal her identity, slipped through the back employee entrance, and what happened...
How you gonna... This is what I understand. Sorry for cleaning my ear. This is what I don't understand. What made you think you could run through the back, through the employee entrance, and you an employee? There's more, but you an employee. It don't matter what you was wearing. You just got sent home. I'm sure other niggas working. You wearing a work uniform. You went, put a mask on. You look the same. You got red hair. And you came through the back.
But next, according to prosecutors, was nothing short of savage. Muhammad allegedly ambushed Harris, stabbing her repeatedly in a frenzied attack. Co-workers scrambled to help Harris, but the damage was too severe. She was rushed to a hospital, and sadly, she later succumbed to her injuries. Such a sad case, such a disturbing case, and this is one that we definitely wanted to shed light on and bring to you.
Got up out of that John.
And I will tell you, one of the reasons that we can do this is because of the amazing support that we get from our sponsors like Upside. Now, if you don't know what it is, Upside is great.
Man, Upside don't be sponsoring my video. That Upside shit. Hold on. Yeah, Upside was sponsoring my
Reaction
video.
to this progression of events.
But y'all can, though, Upside. Fuck with me.
I mean, it's not every day that you have an Instagram post that allegedly is foreseeing what is about to happen. Now, we'll talk more about the Instagram post, but this is a savage attack, and the government feels confident they know who did it.
Just a horrific set of circumstances here, and really what the record kind of shows is a buildup, an
Dude look like he on some good shit.
escalation, things that are getting worse over time. This animosity is growing, and Muhammad didn't do herself any favors with that Instagram video, and then later allegedly went into the store
It ain't no damn Versace.
and just slaughtered Harris
Them Versace. Cursace.
with a knife in the most brutal fashion.
Do you see work-related killings often? I mean, we talk about all the time about relationships and domestic violence, but do you see a lot of work-related violent attacks, homicides often in your line of work?
You know, Jesse, it's not terribly uncommon. You know, the work environment can be a stressful environment. Sometimes you're working with somebody who's not your best buddy. And, over time, those tensions can build and become very problematic. People's livelihoods are on the line. It is, really a high-stress environment that can lead to these kinds of events.
So now let's take a closer look at that pivotal piece of evidence in this case, the Instagram video posted to Afeni Muhammad's account just 2 days before the stabbing on July 8th. And in it, Muhammad appears visibly upset, venting about a workplace conflict.
But to get sent home 2 days in a row, man, and I came in on my off day to make up my time, and she still sends me home early, it's not funny.
Now, Muhammad continues directly accusing her supervisor, Harris, of creating a toxic environment and retaliating against her.
She brings a lot of negative energy in there. You know, nobody's perfect. It's God it happens. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, somebody might get confused. So it gets busy, yeah. But she needs to stop playing like she don't be making mistakes. I be catching her.
Now, the video ends with what might be proven to be chilling foreshadowing of what was to come.
Somebody will have to do something about that. It's not funny. It's not fair. It isn't funny at all. So, she could keep being a bully if she wants to, but that is going to catch up to her. Because it ain't funny at all. It ain't.
Now, Eric, I wonder if the defense is going to say she was angry, she was venting on social media. If she was really planning to kill her manager, why would she post something like this for the world to see? I mean, that doesn't seem too brilliant. Is that a possible defense argument?
Sometimes criminals don't make the smartest choices. This is especially with the emergence of social media and everyone kind of having a quasi-public life now who's on social media. These things come out and people don't really think much of it and don't think how it could impair parts of their life going forward. And so, she's on there venting, but clearly there is some hostility against Harris that is coming through. And those haunting words, those are so ominous looking back at now what happened, where she says she can keep being a bully if she wants to, but that's going to catch up with her. That the prosecution is going to...
Man, her exact words was, somebody gonna do something about that. Somebody gonna do something about that. Somebody gonna put her ass together. Somebody gonna do something to her ass. Stop playing.
I say is premeditation. That's exhibit 1.
One thing we haven't talked about yet, and there's actually a lot we have to talk about, but one thing we haven't talked about yet is that amid the horror of what unfolded, there is an unexpected figure in this story who's being hailed a hero. You see, according to police, a customer who was waiting in the McDonald's drive-thru heard this commotion inside, happened to be legally carrying a firearm, Acting quickly, he fired a warning shot, which caused Muhammad, or allegedly Muhammad, to drop the knife, flee the restaurant. The customer then followed her, held her apparently at gunpoint in the parking lot until police arrived, again, potentially preventing further bloodshed. Eric, if this is all true, my God.
She wasn't finna kill nobody else. She got her target. Second off, nigga, why you trying to be here? I get it. But if you're gonna pull the gun out, use that bitch. I get shooting in the air, but you done went and held the bitch at gun. I'm shooting the bitch in the leg. She catching a leg. Fuck a warning. The warning is you getting shot in the leg. I ain't finna give you no fucking warning shot, because that's how my ass gonna get stabbed trying to be a hero. Crazy as hell. They ain't gonna give you nothing. You might get a couple $1,000s or something. You ain't gonna get nothing. But I respect it. It might would have saved her life. Ain't saved her life, but that ain't his fault. It is what it is. This wicked.
Gosh, right? I mean, you have to wonder what could have escalated.
Talk to him.
Oh gosh, you have someone who is capable and willing to just go stab their manager up to 15 times with a kitchen knife. What else is she capable of? She was in a escalated state at that point, heightened emotions. Who knows what else she would have done had she gotten away, allegedly. And so, yes, this gentleman intervening, I think, could have really spared future bloodshed potentially.
So then you go to Friday, July 11th, and Muhammad stood before Judge Kathleen Galen, charged with first-degree murder and carrying a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent. And during her arraignment, East Point detective Brian Showers took the stand to read what's known as a swear-to, which is our understanding this is a sworn statement outlining the facts that he believes establish probable cause for Afeni Muhammad's arrest and justify the warrant that was issued against her. And he began by recounting a critical admission, or alleged admission, that Muhammad made following her arrest.
Prior to the stabbing, Muhammad was sent home by Harris for not performing her work duties and told Harris, "I'll be back." Muhammad was arrested on scene and the knife was recovered. Muhammad admitted that she intended to kill Harris and stated that after she was sent home, she drove to a nearby park, decided to come back and stab Harris with a knife that she had inside of her vehicle. When Muhammad returned to stab Harris, she entered the back entrance with a hooded mask over her face in an attempt to conceal her identity and attempted to flee the scene after the stabbing, but was stopped by an armed customer.
So after Detective Showers' testimony, the arraignment proceeded in typical fashion, with both sides arguing over bond. And Muhammad's defense attorney cited a history of trauma and abuse and asking the court to consider a reasonable bond.
She was in an extremely...
They do bonds on murder in Detroit, because first-degree capital murder usually don't even come with a motherfucking bond.
Abusive relationship that was not only mental but physical, that involved alcohol issues, which is where the habitual second stems from, and her prior record. But at this time, Your Honor, we are asking the court to consider a bond in this manner that is appropriate, that my client can meet, so that she can meet with her attorneys and prepare her for defense in this manner.
Well, prosecutors, they quickly pushed back, and they argued that the nature of the crime left no room for mitigation.
She entered a public building with other individuals, other employees that were present. She produced a weapon that was a knife longer than 3 inches, and she stabbed the victim multiple times, up to possibly as many as 15 times, eventually causing her death. She then ran from the building to her vehicle, presumably with the intent to flee from the scene. She was stopped by a helpful bystander.
Eric, how does it work in terms of bond? I mean, is it just looking at the horrific allegations and the nature of the crime, or does a judge consider what are potentially mitigating factors at this point?
So the judge has a lot to consider in deciding what the bond is going to be. The two primary factors are whether the defendant presents a danger to society and whether she presents a flight risk that she might leave the jurisdiction and never come back. However, the judge can surely consider the fact that the defendant is presumed innocent and under the Constitution is guaranteed a right to bail for most charges. Here, the judge, in looking at it, essentially concluded that, hey, this person is dangerous. And in fact, there's allegedly a prior weapons issue in her background. And so the judge ultimately imposed a bond of $25 million cash or surety. No chance Mohammed is going to meet that. She will be in custody during the pendency of this first-degree murder case.
Yeah, you're right, because then came an even more disturbing revelation. Prosecutors disclosed in open court that Mohammed had a previous incident involving a stabbing.
And then finally, the defendant does have a prior instance of at least one that I'm aware that involved a stabbing, similar obviously to the stabbing that occurred in this case involving a knife. So given all of those factors and given the fact that this court does have authority to give no bond to defendants charged with murder, I am asking at this time for no bond in this case.
Okay, so according to outlet Detroit News, Mohammed was convicted in Virginia in March of 2022 of one count of unlawful injury by stabbing, wounding, or cutting without
She like a fucked up gorilla.
malicious intent. And at that time, she received a suspended sentence, per Detroit News, of 4 years in prison and served 1 year of probation instead. Now, Eric, given what she is accused of doing here, hindsight's 2020, but do you question that sentence? And also, how does that prior incident affect her current legal predicament?
Sure. So the judge in the prior case, of course, didn't have a crystal ball, couldn't necessarily foresee Mohammed going in and stabbing up her coworker up to 15 times. That being said, it sort of shows a pattern of conduct that includes weapons, a specific weapon, a blade that Mohammed allegedly thrust into the body of Harris, her manager. And so that's an aggravating factor. Surely the prosecution is going to look at that and say, hey, even if there was some mitigation, even if there was some prior trauma, prior substance issues, that is vastly outweighed by the danger that this person allegedly poses to the community. And I think the prosecution's gonna take a real heavy-handed.
Dude, really, he look geeked, bro. He off that. Whoa, look at him. Just look at him. His face all red.
Approach to this case.
But at trial, can they introduce that prior conviction, or is there a prior bad act that wouldn't be allowed to be too prejudicial?
That'll be ultimately up to the judge. The judge will have to weigh, hey, is this prior act relevant to some kind of trait or factor on behalf of the defendant, like state of mind, like intent, like modus operandi, like the way in which she has committed crimes before. But my guess is the judge is going to say, hey, this prior stabbing that was unrelated in an entirely different state is just too overly prejudicial. The concern is the jury would sort of hold that against her and find guilt on the new case because of that.
If she testifies, though, they can use it against her.
If she testifies, it could surely come up. Yeah. There is a reasonable likelihood that she could open the door through her testimony. If she gets up there and says, hey, look, I'm generally a peaceful person, whatever, the prosecution could say, hey, wait a sec, peaceful person. What about this prior weapons charge involving a knife from 2 to 3 years?
Ain't no problem. If that bitch says she a peaceful person, the first thing, ain't no problem. If this motherfucker say that she a peaceful person, the first thing they gonna bring up is her prior conviction for stabbing up a motherfucker. This bitch need to chill out. She likes stabbing motherfuckers. Oh, what's wrong with her?
Years ago. So yes, that could be a damning revelation at trial.
You mentioned this before. In the end, the judge in Detroit set Mohammed's bond at $25 million. There are strict conditions, GPS monitoring, a no contact order with the victim's family. That all makes sense. $25 million, though. Why not just issue no bond? I mean, it seems unlikely, unless you're, I don't know, Jeff Bezos, that almost anyone could make a $25 million bond. Why even set a bond that high and just say no bond?
It's kind of going through the motions of issuing a bond without really issuing a bond. When a judge issues no bond, some folks get up in arms, especially the defense community, saying, hey, the Constitution grants a right to reasonable bail. You're not even giving this person a shot. So the judge sort of sidesteps that potential criticism by saying, no, I gave a bond, but it's $25 million.
By the way, I'm not saying that the bond should be lowered. I mean, given what she's accused of doing, this is a heinous attack. I'm just wondering whether there should be no bond. Now, according to court records, talking about the legal case, Mohammed has a probable cause conference set for July 23rd, a preliminary examination on the 30th. What should we be looking out for there?
So at those proceedings, the prosecution is really going to lay out their evidence that they believe shows probable cause that Mohammed committed this allegedly horrendous act. That they will likely call witnesses, including detectives, possibly even coworkers from the McDonald's, to discuss kind of the dispute that had been building and escalating. In this case, the judge will determine whether there's probable cause to have the trial, or excuse me, to make sure the charge stands and have the case proceed to trial. Based on the reports so far, it's looking pretty strong that there is probable cause here. It's a relatively low standard.
Is there anything the defense can do to try to? I mean, it doesn't seem to me they can do anything to prevent this from going forward. The evidence feels quite substantial at this stage to proceed to trial. We can have a discussion about whether or not it's strong enough to prove beyond the reasonable doubt. Probably is, but at this point, is there anything they can do to try to get this case stopped now?
The images they keep cycling through is hilarious. She looked like the average skeet bop. She a little skeetle scout, a little street walker.
Or now?
Stopped? Probably not. Mitigated? Possibly. You know, defense should really engage in a strong mitigation campaign that'll likely involve a mental health examination. It'll likely involve interviewing people in Ms. Mohammed's life regarding past trauma, regarding substance issues, that kind of thing, to show a sort of a more holistic view of who Mohammed is, and not just, you know, the sort of narrow snapshot we see from this allegedly heinous act.
Is there room for a plea deal, and what would a plea look like? I mean, in the sense, if we make the argument that the evidence against her is substantial, so whether, you know, the witness test.
What we need a plea deal for? What would they possibly need to plea deal for? They're gonna plea deal this girl, but they arrested her red-handed with the blade, and she admitted it. But they need a plea deal.
Testimony or her alleged
statements,
what have you, her Instagram video, what have
this
you,
nigga go.
The physical evidence. Is there room to negotiate a plea, and what would it look like given these allegations and this level of attack?
So that's going to depend in part on the prosecutor and how the prosecutor sees the case. They're typically in charge of extending a plea offer or not. Like you mentioned, there's that aggravating factor of that prior instance regarding a knife in a different state. That's going to be a problem. That being said, there's almost always some room to develop a mitigation packet on behalf of defense, submit it to the prosecutor, and say, hey, instead of dragging everybody's families through the trauma and crucible of a trial, how about we agree on something slightly lesser than what she's facing, and hopefully make it out of this with some sort of satisfactory resolution.
We always talk so much about the defendant in these cases because of the legal consequences in the legal case, but let's just go back to the victim. So Harris's family is in mourning. The McDonald's remains closed. A GoFundMe has been launched by Harris's family to help support her children. And according to prosecutors, she was a mother of 6. She had worked at that McDonald's for 15 years. Part of the GoFundMe reads, through this fund, Jennifer's legacy of strength, compassion, and dedication will continue to guide and uplift her children. Resources from the trust will be used to support their educational journeys from early learning through higher education, as well as their overall well-being and personal development as they grow into adulthood. The Jennifer Harris Legacy Fund is a reflection of her lifelong commitment to family, opportunity, and the belief in a bright future. It ensures that her children are surrounded by the care, guidance, and support they need to thrive, and that her spirit will continue.
Look, I know black people, like Dave Chappelle said on that one TV show. Shorty ain't snap out for no reason. And stab Shorty 15 times. I don't care. Ain't no way she said, all that bitch keep sending me home, I'm gonna stay. No. Look, I went through that. I know how that go. She working at McDonald's for $14 an hour. Probably less. I don't wholeheartedly think it was all ugly folks' fault. Like it wasn't big Sharita folks, big mama folks. It wasn't her fault. But at the same time, she kind of looked like a not so nice lady all the time. And then when you're dealing with a boss at a job, it tend to get like that. Sometimes they don't even mean to be rude or mean, It's just, you know, she's an older lady. She from Detroit. She got the attitude, possibly. I mean, it's a possibility that she was a very nice lady. I'm not saying she wasn't nice at all. I'm just saying to think they painting it like she was just the sweetest old lady. I don't know, man. Why she ain't stabbing nobody else.
Continue to shape their lives for years to come. You know,
But donate, though. If y'all got it, donate. Go back to that, rewind back to that. Donate. Look at her, though. She look like she...
Eric, sometimes we get lost in the fact of the legal points and the legal case that you think about the family that's left behind in such a brutal attack. And for them to make sense of this in a way, it's a start of a whole new journey. They have to grapple with this loss, and now they have to go through the legal case, which can be quite difficult for them, particularly if the defense is going to be raising certain points of defense that obviously they may not agree with, and that might be difficult for them. What should they be thinking moving forward now?
Yeah, they are going to have a long road here. I watched one of the interviews with one of the children, and she said, "Hey, my mom died providing for her kids, going to work every day, trying to make a better life for them." These victims' families are going to have some say in the legal process. They're going to have some input into whether there's a plea or not. Now, the defense has sort of cast Ms. Harris as a bully, and I think that there's probably going to be more of that. There's probably going to be more allegations that the alleged victim was, a heavy-handed boss and mistreated.
One way to find out is to ask the employees, but I don't know if they're going to keep it real. Because you got to think, with all the stuff going on, they probably don't want to go against the grain. But I don't know. I'm really not trying to hate on the lady. I'm just trying to be biased, to be honest. But I also do have my own opinions. And I can be judgmental from time to time. I'm not a perfect human either. I can't say for sure that I know anything, because I don't. It just seemed like I know that level of stress Shorty had, and the way she was talking, I've been there. That stressed out, worried, irritated, mad. In my however many years, I ain't gonna get me, of living, I ain't thought about stabbing a nigga 40-something times.
For employees, whether that's true or not. And so it's going to be painful and probably unsatisfying at the end. Nothing through the legal process will bring their mother back.
Eric Faddis, thank you so much for taking the time. Difficult case, but always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much.
Good to be with you, Jesse.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts.
Man, shout out to Law and Crime. That was a good one, man. I'm kind of tired after that. I'm kind of fried. 27 minutes. If y'all stayed this long, y'all the GOAT. I know it was a little long for him, but I appreciate whoever stays and stayed. If y'all into more of this, let's go. I'm going to bring more energy next time. I was actually thoroughly entertained. Hope you guys were too. Killer FSM 2 times. FSM Killer 2 times. All platforms coming soon. 4 a.m. music. Check me out. Videos coming soon. Vlogs coming soon. And more reactions. I love y'all. Wavy Talk. My man's here. I got to go let him in. But fuck with me. We out.